This is Robert Holland from SAP Insider. And today I'm speaking with Sherry Yu, Director of SAP Success Architect at SUSE. Sherry, welcome to the conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. A pleasure to be here.
Fantastic to have you. So let's jump right in. Something that sort of comes up a lot is the concept of resiliency, particularly and keeping systems up and running. It's very important for organizations today. What is it that in your role you're seeing as the challenges or issues that organizations are facing around maintaining resiliency and keeping their SAP systems available?
Providing availability and uptime and meeting SLA requirements are critical for SAP workloads. SUSE is the lead developer of HA solutions for SAP to reduce unplanned downtime from software and infrastructure glitch. However, those solutions designed for large-scale SAP landscape tend to be very complex and resource demanding. There are a lot of requirements to follow, and human error introduced wrong settings ended up causing outage. Even if the landscape is set up correctly by following the best practices, over time, unattended drifts cause interruptions. To maintain the security of the services, sysadmins need to patch the systems for high security vulnerabilities. That requires planned downtime. For all the reasons, organizations need solutions that introduce zero interruptions to the running workloads.
Yeah, it sounds like a complex landscape for organizations as they try and maintain particularly complex SAP environments, because SAP environments do tend to be very complex, multiple systems, multiple instances, and more definitely just added to that on an ongoing basis. So it's a significant set of challenges that it really seems like organizations are facing. So what are some of the requirements that if someone's using a solution to try and address those challenges, what requirements do those solutions need to offer?
First, the solutions must meet the business requirements for faster delivery, especially be able to accelerate the shift to hyperscalers with agility and quality. Secondly, it must remove the time-consuming and the complex manual efforts, which means automate as much as possible. Thirdly, best practices for achieving near zero downtime integrated by the OS vendor and the cloud provider should be baked into the infrastructure deployment. Last but not least, solutions need to help organizations to increase insights into the landscape. Because what we have observed is that in many cases, a major outage is the result of accumulated minor issues that were not uncovered and addressed in a timely manner. Solutions must help organizations to avoid such worst-case scenario.
Now, when you say a drift, what you're talking about is some sort of configuration change or something happening in the environment that is moving it away just a little bit at a time from the default or an initially set up configuration, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so you can see that could potentially be a problem over time. Now, how does meeting these sort of requirements play into the typical concerns that a sysadmin might have around system and network management? I mean, we know that with any SAP environment, it's not as simple as just putting one system in the cloud. It never works that way. You've got clusters, you've got multiple systems interconnected. So what are those sort of concerns that sysadmins have around network and system management that they're trying to meet?
With the shift to the cloud, adapting to new environment like operating system and infrastructure can be a difficult adjustment for IT admins because it requires a significant learning curve, and skilled talents are difficult to find. Security is another concern. How to keep up with the security compliance while maintaining service continuity? That's a question being asked very often. There is a saying, you are either disrupting or being disrupted. Organizations are concerned that if they spend 80% of the time and the resource just to keep the lights on, as the result, they may fall behind the innovations and the competitors.
Yeah, it can be a significant problem. I mean, I think one of the things you sort of already talked about or hinted at was, even when you do a new deployment, you've got to check the implementation guide from SAP, which are the notes that have to be applied, this time, and then on an ongoing basis, it's very complex to manage. I mean, and even when you've got an enterprise architect who's mapping out how all the systems are talking to each other, that's different than, the physical systems that someone is having to configure and maintain as part of that broader network and enterprise architecture, right? So you've talked about challenges, you've talked about issues, we've talked a lot about complexity that organizations face, and particularly small things that build up over time and accumulate and potentially can cause problems. What are the technologies that can help organizations address those challenges and meet the requirements they have to meet around resiliency, and just make their systems much easier to manage?
Automated SAP deployment can reduce time from weeks to days or even hours. Not only can it speed up installation, but the best practices also help to reduce errors. High availability solutions provide robust failover scenarios to keep critical systems running. Live patching not only patches kernel, but also the user space. When applying high vulnerability security patches to the kernel and the key dependencies of SAP HANA, it helps to avoid reboot for up to 12 months. Most recently, SUSE released security-hardened image of SLAS for SAP applications that's available from the hyperscalers marketplace. The rules comply with government and security standard STIG and CIS. Customers can use the image as the baseline and further customize based on their security requirements. SUSE thought leadership is reflected in an innovative solution as part of SLAS for SAP applications, Project Trento. It allows users to gain proactive insights into SAP HA clusters. For day one, validation uses rule-based detection to find HA configuration issues and ensure the quality of go live. Continuous check in production can help find and resolve issues before they snowball into a costly outage.
Yeah, there's a lot that it's doing there. I think particularly important is the concept that it goes out and identifies all the different systems and verifies what you've got in your environment and which systems are running which services. Because I know, at large SAP environments, there can be dozens or hundreds of servers that are configured out there, particularly by the time you have, dev, test, and prod, instances of each system, so it's a very complex environment, and you have to really have a good understanding of what's running what and where it is. So can you point to specific examples of where organizations have been successful with using SUSE Trento to help manage and address their environments and improve resiliency and basically make their administration more streamlined?
SUSE has worked with world's largest SAP customers to pilot Trento, gather the feedback, and enhance the features. Customers see tremendous value in using it because in order to set the correct settings in the deployment, they need to read hundreds of pages of best practices from various sources like SAP notes, SUSE documents, hyperscalers documents, etc. It's easy to miss some critical ones. Trento collects all the requirements, validates the landscape, and presents findings in a single pane of glass. I give you an example. Microsoft Azure uses memory-preserving maintenance mechanisms that pause the VM for typically up to 30 seconds before it's resumed. To accommodate the up to 30 seconds pause, a cluster setting needs to adjust accordingly. On Azure, Trento checks this parameter and gives a warning if the value is not set correctly. Remediation instructions are also given along with the references.
Yeah, it's a small piece of the puzzle that if there's an impact to it, it means you're not going to be able to successfully perform a failover when you need to, but it's also not something that's necessarily going to be regularly monitored, or you're not going to notice immediately if it's down, right?
There are many monitoring solutions on the market, including hyperscalers' native services. Trento's unique value is to automatically reflect hyperscalers' requirements and gain insights into the SAP cluster environment. Because SUSE is the lead developer of pacemaker-based SAP HA solutions, the developer expertise helps understand where customers are facing challenges and how to tackle them. Trento reflects SUSE's thought leadership in high availability.
So we've talked a lot about technology. We've talked about the challenges that organizations are facing. A lot of people are potentially looking at this as, okay, this is something that's going to help my sysadmins and my network teams manage and monitor the systems that they have. But stepping back a little bit, how does SUSE Trento help organizations focus on growth and innovation, because that's something that's very important to them, and not just keeping their systems running?
Automation turns routine tasks into streamlined and repeatable process. Automated failover of SAP HANA, S4HANA, or NetWeaver, orchestrated by cluster, frees up sysadmins from reactive management tasks. Trento automatically discovers large-scale SAP landscape, validates and monitors, provides remediation guidance, all in a single pane of glass. With a peace of mind, organizations free up resources to focus on new projects and innovations.
Yeah, so it helps free resources for other tasks. It helps ensure that systems stay online without necessarily needing manual intervention, particularly when it comes to failover. So it can be invisible to end users and users who are depending on these systems to help them make, real-time decisions. They're just there and running when they need them.
Exactly. And also with Trento, the sysadmin has the confidence that their SAP system are in good hands.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me today, Sherry. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely.